At times like this, when people are afraid and confused, when lives are in danger, one of my favourite readings for understanding these perplexing events and my own feelings is the story of Noah in the book of Genesis. Noah faced the end of the world, the destruction of all flesh. And really, this ancient story is not that far removed from what we're all feeling during this global pandemic. A flood has come to us. People are dying. People are frightened. And we too have been shut up in our own little sanctuaries, our homes. But people will always throw up their heads at Bible stories. They will dismiss them as fables and children's stories. People always ask me if I believe these fairy stories. Do I actually believe they actually happened? Well, of course I don't. Neither do I believe Romeo and Juliet were real, and I certainly don't believe everything I read in the newspaper or on the big screen. These ancient myths, like all literature and Hollywood movies, are tools, devices which describe the human condition and help us to understand experiences and events which are, thankfully, quite unfamiliar to us. Noah's great flood is not a history. It's not factual. It is a tale intended to convey truth, and as a theologian it is my task to uncover that truth in the changing circumstances of the world around me and tell them afresh in my own generation. Asking did it happen is the wrong question. The right question is, what does it mean? In the story, as I'm sure you already know, God sends a flood and he tells Noah to build an ark to save his family and preserve all the creatures of the earth. And yes, the God of the Bible is not always all sweetness and light. He's a complex character. He says to Noah, "Make yourself an ark of cypress wood, make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and out with pitch." What's funny, of course, is that this is not an original short story. It is a retelling of more ancient Babylonian myths, the epics of Atrahasis and Gilgamesh, when a god speaks to the hero, instructing them to build a boat and save lives. This is the central truth of the myth, that in times of disaster it falls on us, all of us, to build our own little arks and save lives. And all through the history of human civilization, this simple yet profound truth has inspired heroes to act for the good of others in times of darkness, fear and destruction. It's no coincidence that Steven Spielberg's film Schindler's List was based on a novel by Thomas Keneally called Schindler's Ark. Keneally and Spielberg saw in Oskar Schindler a hero, a type of Noah. In the nightmare of the Nazi Holocaust, when human beings were being hunted like animals and murdered in their millions, Oskar Schindler built an ark, a safe place in the heart of the storm, where lives could be saved. At the end of the story, the Jewish factory workers give Schindler a ring in which they have inscribed a line from the Talmud, a line written by the rabbis about the meaning of the story of Noah. To save one life is to save the world entire. This is a wonderful message. Today, when faced with such a devastating global health crisis, we hear people in power say quite heartless things. Only the old and the sick will die. Only a small percentage will lose their lives. The vast majority will live. Almost as though the mathematics of the horror means that those who have died and those who will die do not matter. That their loss is an acceptable loss. But this is not the view of the Bible. Those who will die are real people, our loved ones, friends and neighbours. These are precious, one-of-a-kind human beings with real lives and gifts and potential. In each of them is a spark of the fullness of humanity. Like a fragment of a hologram, each of us contains an image of everything that humanity is, all of our goodness, our faults and failings, and everything we are capable of becoming and achieving. This is as true for the old and the sick as it is for the young and the healthy. Saving just one person saves the whole human race, and in more ways than we can ever truly understand. Saving the life of another saves us. The saviour is saved by the action of saving. The hero is made human by humanising the other. We are made truly human when we put saving lives before all other selfish concerns. And this is the truth of the story of Noah. This is also the truth of where we are, locked down in our houses because we too are trying to save lives. It might not feel like it. What with all this staying at home and watching movies and social distancing, but we are saving lives. Stopping the infection means that less people will get sick and fewer will die. Not just the elderly and the sick, but everyone. We are giving our frontline medical personnel time to do what they do best. And we owe them so much. We always do. And there are other ways we can save lives. By staying in touch with people who are isolated, lonely and depressed. By keeping everyone in the social loop, we keep everyone feeling human and involved. Losing that, trust me, is a kind of death. The floodwaters are here. That's not an actual fact, but it is a metaphor, and it's true. A dangerous flood is upon us, and it's rising. Our homes have become real sanctuaries, little arks where we are preserving what is most sacred to us, the lives of our nearest and dearest. And like the story of the flood, these waters will recede, and we will be safe to go back out into the world, a new world, a changed world, a world where we are able to work on making things better, to ensure something like this never happens again. All the wrongs the government have corrected to deal with this crisis, the inequality, homelessness, social injustice, we can start to make permanent. This will be our vineyard after the deluge.